So I am 4 weeks out from running a 108-mile ultramarathon. Life is busier than it's ever been. My body's under extreme stress. I wake up tired every day. I've got lots of things on my mind. Business is busier than ever before. Got 6 new clients come on board to work with us inside the Consistency Code. And then this is trying to balance spending time with Carla, spending time with family. And it's safe to say that life is very fucking stressful right now. But the reason that I'm able to overcome all of this and not let that leak into my personal life or impact my mood or my energy or my mental health, and I'm able to recover from this very well, is because I've developed a system and a framework that helps me manage everything that's going on inside my head, and that's exactly what I'm going to teach you today. Just before we get into this, I want to let you know that this is not a Dear Diary practice. This is not toxic positivity, because it's all bullshit. You've tried all of that stuff before. This is actually understanding the science behind why your brain has been working against you and what you can actually put in place to manage it. So when it comes to stress, for all of the guys in the podcast that are watching this on the video or on YouTube, if not, you need to picture 2 circles coinciding beside each other. So you have things that are going to be within your control, and then you have things that are going to be outside of your control. This is a great time for my pen to stop working. But the problem is, currently what you're focusing on right now that is stressing you out, largely a lot of that is going to actually happen inside here. Things that are outside of your control, which means there's no email you can send, there's no conversation you can have, there's nothing you can actually do right now to change the situation that you're in. So it's completely outside of your control. So you sitting ruminating and overthinking and replaying those same thoughts and those same worries and those same stresses over and over again is literally just making the situation worse. Some examples of things that you cannot control. One is fucking Donald Trump and what's going on in the world at the minute. You also can't control the weather. You also can't control what people say, what they think, what they do. You will never, ever be able to control what other people say. So it's not worth thinking about it. If you're stopping yourself from doing stuff in your own life, or you're giving yourself a hard time, or you're stressed out over something that somebody has said in work, or over what somebody might say, that's completely outside of your control. There's nothing that you can do about that, because you're never going to be able to control other people. Okay? But what you can control, now this is the key part, is your actions, your choices. You can also control how you respond. You can control how you show up. You can also control how much time you spend stressing out about this shit. You can also control how you speak to yourself. Okay, but like I said, the problem is most people live in here, okay? 90% of people's stress falls inside this category. It's outside your control. You can't do anything about it. So replaying the same shit over and over again is not helping you. We need to focus on this circle here. Anything that is stressing you out in your life right now, what can I actually do about this situation to change it? What is within my control? What action can I take right now that is going to help move me one step closer towards the outcome that I want? Is there a conversation I can have? Is there an email I can send? Is there something that I can do? And whenever that is, right, you need to take action on it immediately. Don't sit on it, don't linger on it, don't ruminate on it, don't overthink it, just take action straight away, because you're not going to be stressed anymore, because stress is created inside your head. Okay, and this brings me on to the next part then. So you are creating stress in your own life by what you are thinking about, okay? When you create a thought in your head, it creates a feeling or an emotion inside your body, okay? So your thoughts create your reality. And as humans, we have up to 70,000 thoughts a day. How many thoughts can you remember from today so far? 2, 3, max. 90% of your thoughts are repetitive, which means they're coming from the day before or the week before or months before, okay? So we're usually thinking about something or dwelling on the past. Up to 80% of our thoughts are negative. Okay, so we're either dwelling on the past or we're worrying about the future. We have self-depreciating thoughts, we're beating ourselves up. I'm not good enough, I'm this, I'm not, I'm a failure, I shoulda, I coulda, I woulda. And the problem with this is built into all of us. Okay, so every single human on this planet has a built-in negativity bias. And to explain what this is, imagine you wake up in the morning, you go to the gym, you meal prep, you had a good night's sleep, you didn't spend any time on your phone, you didn't drink any alcohol, you said no to the thing when you actually wanted to say no, when you stopped people pleasing, right? And you're having a really good day. And then you're driving home from work and you get a flat tire in the car on the way home from work. What is the only thing that you think about at that point? The flat tire. Even though you've had all of this other positive stuff that's going on, one bad thing has happened and our brains will automatically focus on the negative. So it's a built-in negativity bias, and this is a survival mechanism that was deeply ingrained in us whenever we used to live in tribes and go out and hunt and forage for food, because we needed to be in a constant state to sense for threats. If there was a lion coming in, if there was somebody coming to steal our food, if there was someone coming to steal your partner or your fucking child or your shelter. But it doesn't serve us today, because we have sheltered houses, we've got clothes on our back, we've got an abundance of food, but it's still genetically programmed in our heads. We have up to 70,000 thoughts a day, 90% of them are repetitive, 80% of them are negative. And we can control what we're thinking about and how much time we are spending thinking about these thoughts, which is creating the stress in the first place. And the problem isn't negative thoughts, because negative thoughts are actually supposed to be there for us to help us look for problems to solve. The problem is how much time we spend ruminating over these thoughts and how much time and attention that we give to them and how much we let that impact our lives, especially, like I was saying before, if the things is outside of your control. But one thing you need to understand as well is like your thoughts are not facts. Your thoughts are literally just like clouds in the sky. Sometimes they're going to be there, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're bigger, sometimes they're smaller, sometimes they're darker, sometimes they're not going to be there at all. They're just thoughts. Our job is to observe our thoughts coming into our conscious attention and then just letting it go. Because you have control over what you shine the spotlight on, okay? And where attention goes, energy flows. The more time that you spend thinking about something, the more you're going to think about it. So you have a negative thought. Let's say you have a negative thought here, which creates a negative feeling, or an emotion here, which drives a negative action, which gets you a negative result. And then that reinforces a self-fulfilling prophecy, okay? So negative thought, negative feeling, negative action, negative result, and it goes round and round and round and round and round. So we need to understand how we can break that cycle. The self-awareness part of this is being able to check in with yourself when you're stressed or you're anxious or you're overwhelmed or you're angry or you're frustrated or you're pissed off or whatever, and actually check in with yourself and ask yourself the question, where is this stress coming from? Is this within my control or outside of my control? And what is the minimum action that I can take in the next 30 seconds to get this issue resolved? If it's outside of your control, you have to let it go. Because the more time you spend ruminating and overthinking this, the more discomfort, the more stress that you're creating for absolutely no fucking reason whatsoever, because there is nothing that you can do about it. And I'm not saying that stress isn't real. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get stressed out over things. Of course we should. But what we should be doing is realizing how much time and attention that we're placing onto these stressful thoughts when there's fuck all that we can do about it. Okay, so how do we actually manage the stress? This is what I'm going to show you next. You have to excuse my drawing here. As you can tell, I didn't pass art in high school. But we have this stress bucket. So let's imagine that this is a big bucket of stress. So the things that is going to fill this bucket up, right? So imagine this is water, this is stress, this increases over time if we don't manage it properly. There's a little valve down in the right hand corner here. I know it doesn't look much like a valve, but what we can do is we can open up this valve, which is going to help release and relieve some of the stress and some of the pressure that we're encountering. So some of the things that can cause stress in our daily lives is what people say, because we've reacted to it in a negative way. Doom scrolling, it increases mental stress. It does not help you switch off. I don't care how much you think that it does. I used to think the same thing. It doesn't. Procrastination, so putting things off, avoiding doing the work that you know that you should be doing, just has this constant low level hanging stress. Difficult conversations that you're avoiding. So this could be a difficult conversation with your partner, with your kids, with your boss, with a work colleague, and you're just avoiding it, which again, you're just carrying and further driving this stress up even more. And then eventually what's going to happen is this stress bucket is going to start overflowing and it's going to start leaking into all of the other different areas in your life, okay? So it's going to impact your personal life, your mood, your energy, your mental health. It can impact your relationships with your partner, with your kids. It can impact your career because you're not as focused. You've got brain fog, you can't concentrate, you're agitated, you're constantly multitasking, okay? So the more of these stressful things that we come into in our lives, the more this bucket starts to fill up. And then once this bucket gets up to the top, that's when you feel overwhelmed. That's when you're really stressed. That's when you feel burnt out. That's when you're not sleeping properly, which is another stressor here. You overthink everything. You're turning to food as a comfort. You're turning to booze as a comfort. You're turning to social media as a comfort, because these are the only things that will distract you from the stress, because you don't have any other ways to deal with it yet, okay? So that's where this comes in. So what we need to be thinking about is things that you can incorporate on a daily basis, yes, every single day, because I've had conversations with clients over the last couple of weeks. What have you done this week to fill your own cup up? So let's imagine, another terrible drawing, let's imagine that this is your cup, okay? So your cup is your energy, how you feel, how you think, how you carry yourself, how you show up for yourself. If your cup is full, you feel good, you feel well, you've got lots of energy, it's easy for you to stay consistent, you're making better choices. If your cup is empty, then you feel like shit. You've got no energy, you're lethargic, you're not sleeping properly, you're drinking more, you're eating more, you're snacking more, you're falling off track, putting everybody else's needs before your own, okay? Currently your cup is empty because of all of this stress that you're not dealing with properly. Once we open up this valve, then what this does is this starts to fill your own cup up, okay? So you start to have more energy, but it's trying to work out the things that you can do that's going to enable you to do that. So I'm going to give you some examples from my life, because like I said at the start, life is really fucking busy at the minute. I'm 4 weeks out from running a 108-mile ultramarathon. It's a full-time job on top of my full-time job at the minute, and then recovery and training and looking after clients trying to balance relationships, trying to spend time with family, trying to do everything all at once. It's very, very stressful. Stress isn't a bad thing. Stress is a good thing. Stress is only bad if it goes unmanaged, okay? It turns into chronic stress, it lingers, it turns into a mood, and then that impacts everything else in the background. So this morning, before I come down to the studio here, I went to the sauna and ice bath because it's 10 to 15 minutes, 2 to 3 times a week, where I get time to myself to switch off. It helps drive recovery. It's silence. I don't have any noise, I don't have any distractions, I don't have any stimulus, and I always come out feeling like a brand new man after. Another one for me is running without headphones. This is something that I've really started to enjoy doing now too, because we live in a very distracted world. We're always plugged into social media, our phones are always going, we're always connected, we're always distracted, watching fucking Netflix and emails and notifications and WhatsApp groups and everything, right? Whereas I like getting out for a walk or a run without headphones now. So like I went out for a 5-hour run yesterday without headphones and it was amazing. It was great. It was a fucking struggle physically, but mentally it made me feel so good because I got 5 hours to myself with nobody else around me in the middle of the mountains. And I'm not saying that you have to do that, right? You don't need to take these extremes, but go out for a 5-minute walk and leave your fucking phone at home. Like, when is the last time that you've done that? Some other things that you could do that I like to do anyway: breath work, meditation, playing with Lola, my dog, spending time with Carla and my family, listening to music. Okay, so these are the things that I do. I don't do these things every single day, but I do at least one of these things on a daily basis. It helps open up this valve, which helps release some of this stress. Okay, so it empties the bucket, makes it more manageable, which turns into filling my cup up, which means I have more energy, I can concentrate, I'm more focused, I'm more present, and generally I just feel like a much better version of myself, despite life being extremely fucking busy right now and being extremely stressful. But the key thing to remember here is none of this is going to work unless you have the self-awareness in place to understand what has been causing the stress in your life, what you've been doing to manage the stress, or what you haven't been doing to manage the stress. And until you're self-aware, until you understand where the stress is coming from, why it's happening, what's within your control, what's out of your control, and what you're actually doing to manage the stress, nothing is going to change. Okay, so I created a free 2-minute self-awareness audit to help you understand exactly where you're at, what your biggest struggle is, and why you keep falling off track. Okay, it takes you 2 minutes to complete. I'll drop that in the description below, and I'll also send you over a free stress management toolkit to help you figure out why you keep getting in your own way.